And yes, we are live. Welcome to an amazing interview that I'm going to host with my amazing Jodie. And it's been a long while since I had her here with me. And she is going to share so much incredible information regarding how trauma really affects our fertility. And to have a little bit of a background of Jodie, I would like to introduce her, but I want to give it to her and introduce herself, as she is great in explaining, and she's an amazing person. Again, she is like 2 decades full of wisdom, like a walking encyclopedia, hypnobirthing, hypnotherapist, so many gems in that beautiful little brain of her. So Jodie, please share away your wisdom and knowledge and share about a little bit who you are.
Oh, thank you so much for having me today. And I'm so excited to have this conversation because it's such an important conversation, like you were saying, about how trauma affects our bodies and affects our fertility. And so I'm, again, Jodie Solberg, and I am a certified master hypnotherapist. I've been in the mental and behavioral health fields for 25 years, been a hypnotherapist for 23 of those years. And my focus is really on helping women and their families to be able to heal from trauma, anxiety, and different health conditions because our mind body connection is so strong. At least 85 to 90% of all physical health conditions have a psychological component. And so, what affects our bodies affects us emotionally and affects us mentally. And then what's affecting us in our relationships or in our emotions is affecting our bodies as well. And so, what I do is I help women to be able to identify those blocks and those barriers to having the health that they desire in all areas of their lives. So the whole person is something that I look at to help them to be able to clear those things out, to heal from those past traumas, to reduce that anxiety, to reduce that stress. All of those things affect our physiology so that they can have a really positive experience, whether they are going through fertility challenges, whether they're pregnant and they are wanting to have a wonderful birth experience and a pregnancy experience and bond with their babies, whether they're postpartum and having postpartum challenges, or whether they're dealing with grief, with pregnancy loss, and working towards healing their bodies and healing emotionally and figuring out what the next step is for them. So, like I said, just really excited to be here to have this conversation to raise that awareness of how trauma does affect us in all areas.
Thank you. Beautifully well said. So for the people that don't know what hypnobirthing really is, can you explain us how hypnobirthing can help and how a session like looks like regarding our trauma with the fertility?
Absolutely. Yes, I would be happy to. So, hypnotherapy is something that I don't think as many people really understand as they could because of the media, because of how things are portrayed. Honestly, hypnosis and childbirth are both portrayed in a really negative way sometimes in the media. And so I love to share and raise awareness about the fact that these are both things that our bodies, our brains are naturally made to do. And so we go into these natural relaxed states all the time. So when you're looking at hypnosis first, we'll tackle that one first. It is a completely natural state that we go into. We're just doing it intentionally, right? So think about when you are relaxing on the couch watching Netflix, or you are getting ready to go to sleep at night, or you're just kind of daydreaming or thinking about what you're going to make for dinner that night on your way home from the grocery store, right? And your mind's elsewhere, right? You're watching a movie, you're watching television, you're thinking about something else. We go into these slower brainwave states. So right now, as we're talking, we're in what's called a beta state. So that's just things are moving along. We're engaged, we're talking, we're awake, we're alert. When you start to let your mind wander, or you're getting really into that movie or that TV show, or you're relaxing, even reading your book, whatever it is, what happens is our brain waves start slowing down a little bit and we go into an alpha state. And then if they slow down even more, like you're kind of dozing off a little bit, or you're not quite asleep, but you're really relaxed, then that's a theta state. And then deep sleep is called delta. And so all that is to tell you that our brains naturally do this successfully every single day, right? We relax and then we come back to awakeness and alertness. And so, what hypnosis and specifically hypnotherapy is all about is helping to create that state so you can just sit and decide you want to relax, basically, right? You can decide, okay, I want to
Oh,
take
we
a
have
breath.
someone. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, yeah,
We
go
have
ahead.
someone here as well joining
You
us.
do. I'm excited.
Hi, V. Yay!
Hi, welcome. Thank you
Unmute
so
it.
much for being with us.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we do this successfully, like I said, every single day. And so what we're doing is we're choosing to relax, we're choosing to slow down. And with hypnotherapy, all we do is we go in and do that targeted work, right? That therapeutic work in that relaxed state so that it calms that kind of logical, critical, hypervigilant part of your mind that's always questioning and criticizing and comparing and things like that. And so that's what hypnotherapy is all about. Now, if we look at hypnobirthing, then what happens with that is it's actually an entire childbirth education method. It's a whole method that also incorporates, right, self-hypnosis, relaxation, breathing techniques to create a really calm and comfortable birthing experience. And unlike some other childbirth methods that emphasize pain management through medical interventions, hypnobirthing is aiming to reduce or eliminate the need for all the medical interventions by empowering the birthing person with these natural techniques, because our bodies were naturally made to be able to give birth. And so helping to educate on self-advocacy, be able to create an environment where you can be as relaxed and comfortable as absolutely possible. It does not have to be like you see on television. You do not have to be screaming and in pain and all of these things. It's something
Exactly.
that, yeah, it's something that the media creates, and it creates fear, right? It creates fear. And there's this thing called fear, tension, pain syndrome, where if you're afraid, then your body reacts and tenses up, and we have pain. And that's the same for anything, not just childbirth, but for anything that you think of, when we are worried, if we're anxious, if we're fearful about something, it can exacerbate those physical symptoms. It can cause pain. And so what I do with hypnotherapy as well as hypnobirthing is help people to be able to intentionally go into that calm, more peaceful, more relaxed state where we can access your subconscious mind that is in control of all of our physiology and all of those reactions, and choose how we want to respond, to choose how we're going to be able to process, release, and heal some of these things, especially traumas that get stuck. They get stuck in our subconscious, they get stuck in our nervous system. And so one of the things that I do is I help people to release that trauma, to process so that they can move forward and have more positive experiences, whether it's with fertility and the way their body reacts, whether it's with childbirth, or whether it's any other area of their life.
That's so beautiful and really, really well explained. I already loving this. So, to get a little bit deeper into it, how does it really differ from normal traditional childbirth methods?
So it differs in that we don't talk about force pushing. right? So we're talking about breathing techniques, those visualization techniques, the self-hypnosis to really go deep inward and connect with your body, can really trust your body's natural ability, that it's knowing how to give birth, connecting with your baby. So doing a lot of bonding and connection so that you're working together through that process throughout pregnancy and in childbirth. And like I said, there's not the focus on the medical interventions and on force pushing. There's a lot of different natural positioning that can help you feel more comfortable, that can help things go smoother for you. And then with those visualization and breathing and self-hypnosis techniques can really help you to connect within and to be able to have a really calm and comfortable and trauma-free, right? That's one of the big focuses in hypnobirthing is let's reduce the trauma for both you and your baby in the birthing experience. And let's also release fear. So that's a huge piece is we're doing a lot of fear release from the past, because if you've had fertility issues, if you've had pregnancy loss, and even if you haven't, and you've just watched television ever in your life, and or you've heard a horror story from somebody else who was like, well, let me tell you about my horrible birth experience, right? People love to tell you those things for some reason, and it gets implanted in our minds, right? It's embedded in our subconscious that it's scary, that it has to be painful, that it has to be this way. And that's not true. And so we're really deprogramming and then shifting to more positive, supportive beliefs that it's going to be okay, that your body knows what it's going to do. And even if there are any special circumstances and any type of medical interventions are medically necessary and needed, that it's going to be okay and you know how to handle it. Because that's a huge part of trauma when we're talking about pregnancy, fertility, childbirth, is when women feel like they aren't in control, right? That things are being done to them and they're not part of the process. They're not part of the decision making. I work with so many women who have had a lot of postpartum challenges. And one of the issues is that in the media, they only talk about postpartum depression. Now, I've worked with women.
No, there's so much more.
There's so much more, right? Like, why is this the only thing we talk about? Because there's postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression is only one piece, right? I've worked with clients who've had postpartum, like I said, anxiety, OCD, postpartum
the relationship with the postpartum,
yeah, and PTSD,
and with the partner, so many
Yep.
things. Exactly. I really like to give this as an example when I talk about postpartum. Is like, when you get to know someone, you go on the first date, you go on the second date, everything's beautiful, and then you get engaged and you're prepping the whole wedding because you want that sexy dress, you want the best buffet, you want the best this. Okay, then that's done. Then you are like, okay, now we want to have like a bigger family. So you're planning, the nursery, the softest blankets, your birth plan, and then it stops. Nobody makes a postpartum plan, which is so crucial because postpartum is like the most vulnerable part of when a woman just gave birth, because she's open from underneath. She just have a little bundle of joy that she doesn't know what cry it is. How do I recover from myself emotionally, physically? How do I connect with my partner? How can we become a unit? And so many things. Like, then it really starts when the baby arrives.
Yeah, it's so important, like you said, to have that plan. And so that's a huge part of hypnobirthing, actually, is to be your own advocate, to be able to plan, right? Have birth preferences, your whole plan in place for before, during, and after, and to have a care team,
exactly.
right? A care team that really is aligned with your preferences and your plan. So having the support people, and we do actually talk about that postpartum period, in that, it's so important to give yourself that time, that space to heal, to acclimate, to learn and connect with your baby to be able to heal your body. And so I love what you do because it's so important to have the people who are there for you for that support in all of those stages. Like you said, people forget about themselves after they give birth. Like there's so much that your body is going through and changing and going into, a whole new phase, a whole new season. And so it's really, really key to take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally through all of that.
All aspects. Exactly.
All
It's society that really has, you pushed out a baby, you need to bounce back right away. You're not allowed to be lazy. You need to get back in pre-baby body. So many pressure is on the woman that, I really love to have it from a Chinese medicine perspective. And we in Greece here also do it. That's why I have like my program, the first 40 days, because those first 40 days are so, so important because you need to heal. Even if you had a physical birth, so vaginal birth, a placenta leaves a 22 centimeters wound inside. So because we don't see it, it doesn't mean we don't need to care for it, or we don't need to rest and recover. So it's really baby steps. Like it's 5 weeks in the bed, 5 weeks on the bed, and 5 weeks around the bed from a Chinese medicine perspective. And it's really, really important from that aspect of postpartum. And I'm really a big advocate on that, because if we say in Chinese medicine, when you nurture a mom in her postpartum period, that will reflect on herself in the upcoming 40 years. So if she really was, back to work right away and need to do this and need to do that, and not really ask her like, how are you feeling instead of, having, oh, where's the baby? Oh, here it is. And nobody asks if she's okay. And that can only on its own trigger a lot of anxiety and fear, because I'm like, okay, I'm a new mom. Nobody's asking me. And I don't really feel comfortable by you holding my baby. Or I'm not really comfortable you coming to my home or kissing my baby or whatever thing is. And once you give birth, that mother instincts come so big through that you become that protecting your cup, and it's totally normal, and people should respect that and not say like, oh wow, you became a mom and you became like this cougar or this guy. And it's not, no, it's not, you just became a mom, and it's normal for you to feel that way, and it's valid. So it's really important to not also be judged by being this way, because you need to learn for yourself, but it's okay. And that's why it's so important to have a plan and to have those boundaries.
Absolutely. So releasing that pressure and expectation and judgment, and being really kind and compassionate with yourself, and realizing that the most important thing is taking care of yourself and taking care of this new baby. And so, yeah, it's very, very true that there's a lot of that out there, of the shoulds, of the judgments. And when you said lazy, that just hit me, because I consider that a 4-letter word. That is one of those words I hate saying because that carries so much judgment. And we take that from the outside, right? What we see of like, oh, this celebrity or these people, well, they just bounced right back, or they just did this, or, so-and-so, that somebody knows, got right back up and went to work, and all of these stories that we hear, and then we internalize that, and we think that that's how we are supposed to be. And then your body does not agree with that. And it's not even a natural thing, right? It's not our natural instincts. No. And so really listening to your body, getting really connected, listening, taking care of yourself. And like you said, following those maternal instincts and that intuition is so huge. And so that's a big part of what I do, is teaching women how to trust those instincts and trust their intuition and trust their bodies, and really listen and pay attention, and not trying to override all the time, because we are programmed a lot in our societies to override how we're feeling, to ignore. And that is very important not to do when you have just had a baby.
True, true. And now we're going to switch it a little bit reversed because we talked a lot about postpartum. So we're going to the after loss kind of
Yeah,
way because there's a lot of trauma there.
absolutely.
Before I give you the word, I do want to implement a little bit of Chinese medicine in here. From a Chinese medicine perspective, trauma is really, really connected to our organs. And one of them that is the root of our reproductive system is our kidneys. So if our kidneys are out of balance, then this will also infect your fertility because you will have also, when it's combined with blood stasis, you will see irregular cycles,
Mhm.
premenstrual syndrome, blood clots, all these kind of things, and anxiety and fear and all these emotions trigger your organs. And again, not specific the organs, but it's related to, from a Chinese medicine perspective, that has a huge effect on our reproductive system. So it's really, really important to have a good emotional balance, because if you feel, for example, it's really easy to understand, if you feel anxiety, you're like in a flight type or constantly mode. But if you feel joy, you feel happy, you have like these happy hormones, and that's exactly the opposite. So one thing that I always like to say, if you feel you're getting into the tension of getting into that tunnel or in that well, what I like
Mhm.
to do is like think of something that really makes you happy, like a sweet memory. Or maybe you want to see, like what I truly like to do that makes me happy is watching Harry Potter. Or somebody wants to watch Friends and have like a big laugh, so you don't get too much deep into the well because you're already fixing it to get out of it. So that really helps, just a little tactic there, to help with your emotions. And another amazing thing I really like to provide is, as everybody says it, but it is true, is journaling or writing, because you can get it off your chest. So
Yeah.
from Chinese medicine perspective, trauma is locked in your reproductive system, so your kidneys, your liver, your whole blood system. So it's really, really important to don't have any trauma lingered, because even if you have trauma from a former pregnancy loss, like I did,
Mhm.
it can get into the next one and into the next one, and then you are more away from your home than you should. So you can be, instead of that fear, anxiety, and don't know where you're going, and it's the cycle over and over again until you really think, okay, this is going to be happening, I'm again pregnant, this is going to be okay. But it's really important to have that support and that guidance from the right people without judgment.
Absolutely. That's so important. Like you said, everything is so much more connected than we realize. And so your state of mind, your thoughts are going to be affecting your emotions, which affect your body, which affect your fertility, right? It's going to affect everything. It's going to affect your organs, how everything is functioning properly and working together. And people don't think about this very much, but our emotions are actually physiological responses, right? We're having a physical experience, and the emotions are just the words we put to describe it. So if you think about anxiety, you might think about, well, how do you know that you're anxious? You might have your breathing gets quicker, your heart rate gets faster, right? You might feel it in different parts of your body. We
Your
all have
chest
different areas
clenchy.
that we hold. Yeah. And so it's so important to recognize that, these things are very connected. And when we're talking about loss, first of all, everything we just talked about that applies to after, like postpartum, applies if you have loss as well, because your
Exactly,
body is still
exactly.
healing. Your emotions are healing, your body's healing, right? There's a different outcome, but your body still went through that whole process. And so we have to be kind and compassionate and take really good care of ourselves and have that support and have that care around us, no matter what happens at the culmination of a pregnancy. Some of us have had a lot of loss in the past and now are having successful pregnancies. And what happens, like you said before, is that we might be carrying some of that anxiety, some of that fear because of those past experiences that we've had. And so, with hypnotherapy as well as hypnobirthing, super important to focus on releasing those fears and being able to process through and deal with those traumas so that we can release that from our bodies, but also so that we don't have that fear and anxiety that we're carrying into the new pregnancy. I think that is really key. And so, if you're somebody who's experiencing loss, we have to validate ourselves and our feelings and be able to take the time that we need to heal and have the support, not trying to do it all by yourself, getting that team around you that can help you.
The village.
Yeah. Isn't that so important? Because we are taught a lot of times we're supposed to just deal, get over it, push it down, not really process it, not really feel our feelings. And then what happens is we store it all in our bodies, and then we're having reproductive challenges moving forward because, like you said, everything, all of our organs are being affected, and we're not actually moving through all of those things so that we can function optimally in the future. And so, yeah, it's really, really key because, like you said, you'll have hormonal imbalances, irregular cycles. Your subconscious mind, a lot of times when you have trauma, will develop these protective mechanisms that interfere with future conception and fertility and being able to, have healthy pregnancies. And so we have to clear out those subconscious blocks as well as work on all of our organs and our bodies. We have to do it for both sides, not just one or the other.
Exactly. And what I really like to give a really highlight here is because it's always some kind of true. And I realized that when I had my losses, like somehow when you experience a loss, everybody else around you is pregnant. And and maybe even your best friend. This happened to me. I had a really great friend, and she was like, I'm having a baby," and I was really happy, but I was like, give me a moment, I need time to process this. Mm-hmm. And then they slamp you with, at least you can get pregnant, at least this, at least that. Well, that isn't really helping. That is even causing more anxiety for upcoming. So instead of saying at least you can get, like, what can I do for you, change mm-hmm. it into really providing instead of saying these statements.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's invalidating and it's minimizing the experience, and it's comparing, right? It's comparing, me to you, or, this is person's experience. Well, I know somebody that it's not helpful, right? It's not helpful for us to do that to ourselves and for anyone else to do that to someone. And so, yeah, it's really important to, like you said, be able to know that you're going to have, so I have a way I describe that in general. It's not just around pregnancy mm-hmm. and loss, but I call it an emotional sunburn. You have to acknowledge that, you're going to have this little emotional sunburn that sometimes if someone touches it, even if they're trying to hug you, it might be really sensitive, right? It's emotionally activating for us or triggering for us. So like you said, you might be so happy for your best friend who keeps having these, wonderful, successful pregnancies, but it also can activate or touch that emotional sunburn for yourself. And so being aware of that, and again, that kindness and compassion for ourselves and that validation is really important, that both can exist. She can be having this wonderful positive experience, and you can be happy for her, and you can be feeling other things too because of your experiences.
Exactly. So beautiful. And it's really, really important to bring more awareness to this topic, even if it's fertility, pregnancy loss, pregnancy, and postpartum, because there is a huge percentage that is causing still pregnancy losses, miscarriages, postpartum depression, PTSD. With your partner, like instead of it strengthening, you go on a divorce or it breaks, it falls apart. Like we need to really become aware. And I really like about as well hypnobirthing and in Chinese medicine, like really become aware of your body, like know when it gives you symptoms and signals. So as you understand these signals and symptoms, how you can overcome them and process them so you can continue, instead of giving this a trauma effect on you that is building a ripple effect on you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Really addressing the effects of all of those things. You said if you're noticing those signs and symptoms, not ignoring them, really looking deeper into what is the root cause and then what can you do.
Exactly.
So much of our focus when we're dealing with fertility challenges or pregnancy loss is on what we can't do or what we think is wrong with us, or internalizing that and thinking like, because this part of my body or this part of my physiology isn't working optimally right now, that there's something wrong with me. And so really
exactly, blaming yourself
that.
And yeah, I talked about this a couple of days ago. It's really important because you do really think like, okay, my body failed me, so it's something about me. But most of the time it's truly something we don't know. Like even, doctors tell you after 2 periods, you're good to go. But the truth is that's not true. You need a minimum of 4 months, because a sperm cell and an egg cell needs a minimum of 3 to 4 months to be the best optimal egg and sperm cell. So I always, when I say like after 2 periods, and I see a lot of women, sadly, even, when they just miscarried, a couple of weeks later, they try again and they miscarry again. So they aren't really getting to the root cause. So it keeps on going. This cycle keeps on going. And this can build up so much trauma and pain and financial pain. Like it accumulates everything. And then, they go to IVF. But even then, if you don't have like a good health on both ends, so, and your partner and you, from semen and expectation, your IVF will not be successful.
Yeah.
And this is causing even more anxiety and fear of, okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? And then they go to the alternative, and then they see that, when we are talking about the root cause and really becoming aware of where your underlying problem is, then you can succeed naturally.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? You hear so many stories about people who were so stressed, had so much pressure, were spending so much money, like I said, on things like IVF, and it just wasn't working. And they were just so desperate to be able to get pregnant and have this baby. And then they give up and they maybe adopt or they do something different. So I know somebody personally who that happened to. Right, went through, spent $30,000, a couple of different rounds of IVF,
Wow.
decided to then adopt, and then guess what happened? Got pregnant.
They got
Naturally,
pregnant.
had a baby. Yeah, and so now they have two that are really close in age, and it's amazing. And it makes complete sense, because when you are in that vicious cycle of that stress and the pressure, like you said, financially, physically, the anxiety, all of these things, it's not optimal for your body to function properly. And so no matter what you're doing, you get in this cycle where it's not working, and then that causes more stress and more anxiety and more pressure. And yes, when you, like you said, start to shift your focus and look at, okay, what can I do to support my body to be at its best and work optimally and everything working together, and you're giving it the time and the space, and you're reducing stress and you're reducing your anxiety and you're processing through trauma, then guess what happens? Like you said, you're more relaxed, and those, the stress hormones and all of the things that are causing our bodies to protect and tense up and go into really kind of emergency, like fight or flight mode, right? Our nervous system
Exactly.
is not going to allow the resources to go into the reproductive and like you said, your liver and all these different organs that are so key in order for you to conceive and have a healthy and successful pregnancy. It's taking away from that. So once we heal all of that and shift the focus and start working naturally on, okay, what can we do to support your body physically? What can we do to support you mentally and emotionally, and take a lot of that pressure, expectation off of ourselves? It's amazing how well our bodies work all of a sudden.
And if you add to that a little bit of nutrition.
That's right. All the pieces. It has to be the whole formula, right? Has to
The
be
key elements.
all those key elements. Yeah, it's not just one thing. We can't just take a pill and make it better, or we can't just,
No,
like
it's not putting
really
a band-aid on it.
It's exactly. Yeah. It's like putting a band-aid on it when you have to go through the whole process of taking care of yourself as a whole person.
Exactly. And I can talk about, because I'm living proof. I had 3 losses. I had 2 before my oldest and 1 in between. And after my first 2, my first one was, they told me, do you have thyroid? So I balanced my thyroid. They told me, you will be on the T4 thyroxine for the rest of your life. And I was like, not gonna happen. So I balanced it out. I have my nutrition, I have my herbs. Then I got another loss. They didn't know why. So, and in my case scenario, it was, I didn't had a miscarriage. They really stopped growing inside of my tummy. So I had 3 DNCs. So after my second, I was like, okay, what? You don't know what's wrong with me. I did all the lab tests that you told me. I did a salpinography, to see the ink. Is everything going okay with the ovaries and everything? And the sperm is going right. I checked the sperm. Everything was okay. So, okay, what else can I do if you can't find the reason? So what I did is I took my herbs. I did acupuncture on myself. And then with the first try, I got pregnant for my first rainbow. And then I got another loss, and I was like, okay, I know what to do. So I did again the same thing that I have done to me and many, many women worldwide, is doing the acupuncture, doing the herbs, and with the first try, I got my second. So it is truly possible to conceive naturally with the right guidance, the right nutrition, the right herbs, the right supplements, the right support, the right hypnobirthing, and really becoming aware of your body, because we are a whole, and that's why it's called holistic therapy.
Yes.
Because we don't treat and we put a band-aid on it. We are covering the root. As you are a beautiful flower, we need to target your roots and your soil with love and care, so you can blossom like an amazing flower you already are.
I love that analogy of the garden, right? Because we have to start.
I'm an herbalist, so I always
really
provide
good soil, right? Good nutrients in your soil. And then, it's the quality, right? It takes all of the things. It takes that sunlight and that good water and the nutrients and all of the things to have a plant grow successfully. And our bodies are the same way, right? Like you said, and I love that combination that you talked about with the, herbs and the acupuncture, and really getting in that right mindset and learning the tools so that we can balance our hormones, so that we can help ourselves to reduce those hormones of stress and that fear and tension and pain, and shutting our bodies down, and really promote those good hormones that are going to help us to be able to conceive and to be able to carry a baby to term and to be able to have a really positive experience in birth and postpartum. And that's, a big part of the work that I love to do is helping women to be able to prevent a lot of those challenges and things that are truly are preventable, and you can minimize the risks of having medical intervention. You can minimize a lot of the complications and the postpartum challenges when you have all of these things in place. And it's us working together. It's people like me and people like you working together that's so important. Like you said, that care team to me really is truly a necessary piece for myself too, of, okay, I need to have, somebody who's working over here, the acupuncturists and the herbalist, people who are integrative and holistic and who understand that there's not a one size fits all approach to anyone.
No.
Everything is customized with the women that we work with. It is so important because our histories are different. Our bodies are different. There's a lot of things that are the same, of course, but there's also some individual circumstances of the things you've been through in the past and where you're at now, where your levels are and where you're having challenges in your own body. And so we look at things like that of where are you carrying your trauma and your stress? What parts of your organs, for example, for what you do, right, are needing some support? Emotionally, where are you needing some support? There's a lot of trauma that affects us with our fertility and pregnancy. It's not just around that. It could be past childhood trauma or past sexual trauma.
Exactly.
There's so much to look at. So I love what you were talking about with, because that's the same thing I always talk about, as the root cause. What are the root causes of where this is coming from that's causing your body to not be working optimally or to be in protective mode? What is coming up for you? And so I love that we can work together to really help people to have, a shift, a positive experience. And your mindset was amazing. I love how when you told your story, you talked about, okay, like, what can I do? Right? It wasn't that you got shut down. It was like, okay, I had this loss. This happened. What can I do to help support my body the next time? How much time do I need to give it? What types of herbs? What types of treatments? What types of care, right, do you need to give yourself? And so I think that is a huge piece of your story that people can take away from.
That's the reason why I do what I do. Like, that was my biggest trigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see that. And as you say, the word prevention, like, it is about prevention. Like, prevention is a huge key in a lot of aspects, even if it's fertility, even if it's anxiety, if it's pregnancy, postpartum, musculoskeletal, you can, so many topics. It talks about prevention. For example, because I also treat a lot of people verbally and also kids. Another way that you really are off is, when you are having immune support issues, like, you get a cold and a flu every once in a while, then you get this and then you get that. So there is something going on. Your body isn't healthy, and that's why you're getting also always a cough or a cold or a flu or a rash. And a lot of products that we use and are on the market, and even baby products, have a lot of hormonal disruptors that causes infertility. So think about, the dishwasher tabs, think about your shampoo, your detergent, your body skincare. There are so many things that have like hormonal disruptors, but because it's easy to buy, it doesn't mean they don't have effect. They do have an effect, but slowly, and that will come in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then you will start to see the results that really made you sick or made you have infertility issues or made you prone to your immune system or your thyroid system. Because even, you still see a lot of people drinking a Red Bull. Well, Red Bull is really, really bad for you. Really, really bad. You see, and I really like to give this as a challenge, like go to your bathroom and just watch and see the product's names. Like if you can pronounce it, it doesn't belong there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I teach as well, is like, I really help you with the fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum, but then I guide you to become that amazing woman that you already are, to make your own healing remedies. And you don't need to buy the stuff. Like I can give you an amazing healing serum for $40, and you can make like 20 batches.
Yeah.
Instead of putting so many junk on your body, because 80% of our body, what we put on, goes into our bloodstream.
Yeah. Wow. That's what holistic is all about, right? We're looking at environment. So you're looking at what's outside and what you're putting inside too. And that is so, so true. It's so key, because those things accumulate, right? Just like those types of things accumulate in your body, like the toxicity, right? That also happens emotionally. The things that we're not dealing with and we're not processing, and the things that we're putting in. I mentioned this at the beginning of our conversation, right? That anything that you're bringing in through the screens, right? Through those stories, those things that are influencing us, that accumulates too. And so we also sometimes have to flesh a lot of that out, that's not serving and supporting you. Those beliefs, those underlying beliefs about yourself, about your body, about pregnancy, about fertility, a lot of times those aren't serving us either, because they're really negative and limiting and keeping us from being able to move forward. And like you said, a lot of times people have gone through so much, they've tried everything before they come to people like us. We should really be the first people that they come to.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, that's why when I hear like alternative medicine, and amazing lady, I will pop her on here as well, V, because I do want her here. She is also amazing. I can't unmute her, so if she can unmute herself, I don't know. V, can you unmute? No, I can't unmute her because.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, she's here.
Oh, wonderful.
So this amazing soul, she went through a lot of trauma herself, and she's an amazing energy healer. So she works a lot with energy. So she really also feels that the trauma. And V, I want you to talk a little bit as well, like energy-wise, how much trauma affects us.
That creates the blockages in our chakras and our meridians. Our subconsciousness is programmed, and if we don't become aware of these blockages, we run the programs of the trauma. And when you have a early stage of trauma in a younger age, that means that you're basically being programmed to be in the trauma reactions from the beginning, because a child does not develop itself from within, because it's always focused on the outside. So it's always looking around. And if you don't create that safety within yourself, if you're not in the environment, what we were just talking about, you don't have that safety within you, your default settings become always being on the lookout. And it takes a while before you can become aware of that. And it takes people who go through these things, it takes them a longer while to get basically on track, because this program is running everything. So that's why you have your triggers. So also in this case is also the mother, the grandmother. how has she been in her pregnancies? What are her emotions? Because what we don't pay much attention to, or little attention to, is how your mother has carried you. She passes this down onto you. So you can also be carrying her anxiety and her energy, what is not yours. So if you don't know
I'm
your
getting
mother,
goosebumps.
yeah, but if you don't know your mother's story, you might not know why you might be having these blockages or these anxieties for becoming a mother or becoming pregnant yourself. So this is how we also have to look back to the story, and it's not about judging or anything like that. But if we don't also know the background stories from our own mothers, they pass so many things down onto ourselves that we carry with us, and that can also block our energy, that can block the flow of our reproductive system. It, it can also block our way of being able to literally conceive and receive due to the anxieties or traumas that we have taken on that are not our own. So these are also things, and that is, yeah, the things that I can sense in the energy, and it's very intuitive. So I just can like feel it, and then I can allow the energy just to flow through me. I become a channel, and we also have to understand that no one can heal someone else. You can only be the channel for that person, and you can help them open up so that they can allow the healing themselves happen. Because someone who's not ready to heal or doesn't understand where certain things are coming from, they won't be ready, and it might trigger them to withdraw even more, or the trauma might become even more blocking for whatever it is. Wherefore you come in this cycle that you can have a difficulty to break through. So
Wow. Thank you, V. That's really hitting the nail there. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you.
thank you for inviting me. So I was not prepared.
Always.
That was just
Well, I know your energy, so I just wanted to just have you here because it's so amazing. Like the hypnobirthing, the Chinese medicine, the energy, like everything is so much intertwined. And we are like a little seed, and we need that right soil, that sunlight, that loving words, the care, the water. It all comes together with the right people, the right support. As I'm talking, I'm just getting goosebumps again. Um, because and that's what I truly love. Like we're connecting with amazing souls here. Jodie is so amazing. You are so amazing. We are so amazing in what we do, and we together, like we are alone strong, but if we do together, we are making a huge movement worldwide from women that truly need us, and we can prevent this for coming over and over again, and we are really breaking that cycle.
that's a lot of what it is about. It's breaking the cycles so that you don't pass them on to the next generation. And when we can start healing that within ourselves, we heal the generations to come, but we also heal the generations behind us. They can come free of us, whether they're in the present moment still with us on the earth plane, or even if they have transitioned to the other side, it will be able to set them free. And by doing this work for ourselves, we heal the past 7 generations, they say, and the coming 7 generations. So it's very important.
Exactly.
It's very important work. And basically, energy work is working with the life flow energy that you know as chi, as prana, and using this energy is helping to allow a person to receive it so that they can allow this energy to flow through their bodies. And like we were talking, it is a holistic approach. So it is really body, mind, and soul. We have to also really be aware of what are the thoughts that we are thinking, because our thoughts become our habits, our habits become our personality, and this is what we create in our present. And trauma, whatever,
Exactly.
is what we are bringing in the past, but we are bringing it in the present moment, because what happened in the past we cannot change, but it's the experience and the memory, the body memory, that we bring in this present moment. And that's why it feels so real, even though it might have happened 20 years ago or 10 years ago or even 2 months ago. But we are bringing that experience, and our body is like an archive. It stores everything somewhere. And if you don't process these, and you don't get a body release, so we can do all the energy work, we can do the healing work and thought process that, but if we don't really do some kind of body work that we can allow it to release from the body, our body will keep storing it, because our body is just one big memory foam. So it will that forward in moments that we don't expect it. Even if we go through the healing and we look for what are our triggers, what happened and things, but sometimes it goes in layers, because we only get, and that is what I really learned over the years, we get what we can deal with in the present moment. And sometimes that's just only the tip of the iceberg. And sometimes we have to go a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, so that we don't trigger the body again to go in the reflex of flight, fight, fawn mode. Because if it's too much or too overwhelming, we will fall back in that, and our body just wants to protect us. Our mind wants to protect us. So that's why it's sometimes takes a longer time.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to wrap it up because Jodie needs to head off. So thank you, V, for sharing all this beautiful insight. It was truly, truly a pleasure to having you here. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we are going to close this off. Let's see. Last question. And what advice would you give to considering hypnosis for fertility, childbirth, and pregnancy loss?
Well, first, I want to say thank you to V, because that was so beautifully said and completely resonated with everything and agreed with what she said. And the advice that
We'll put her on the stage as well.
Oh, okay. The advice that I would give is I would really encourage women to approach these different modalities that we're talking about, right? We're all very complementary to each other, and it's that holistic approach. So I would approach their journey, right, with this open mind and a willingness to explore those root causes, right? Looking at their inner emotional landscape, their physical health journeys, their histories, right? These generational things that have been passed down as well, to really open their minds and their hearts to look at, first of all, what are those roots? And then really focusing on what can they do, and releasing that judgment, releasing the pressure and that expectation on themselves, and really opening themselves up to finding those alternative, like you said, solutions that really we don't consider as alternatives, but we know that,
exactly, it's the ancient medicine.
People don't, yeah.
It's been more here than normal medicine that we have right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So really opening themselves up to the fact that, it's okay to need some support. It's okay to reach out and to find the people who are the most aligned and can help you, right? The people who are there to support you, that are giving you the answers. Be your own advocates. If you're not getting the answers that you're looking for, or you have someone who's only looking at one piece of who you are, it's okay to add more pieces to your care team.
Layers, as we said.
Yeah, because I know that's a huge part of my journey is, in the medical community, them saying, well, we don't really know there's nothing we can do. That's it, or just do this. And it wasn't the right answer for me. So just really being your own advocate, getting connected, learning how to connect with your body. So like V was saying, mind, body, spirit connection is really, really key, that it is, you are a whole person. It is all of these pieces to look at. So, that advice really is to, be open to that process, be open to that change, because like V said, we cannot do the work for anyone else. It's really up to you. You have to be open to that change and know that it's so worth it when you take care of yourself holistically, right? When you really address the whole person, that whole garden that we've been talking about, It is amazing how different it will feel, how your experience will shift and change, and that healing process can really begin. And you can get to that place where you can open yourself up to a whole different experience. You can have a different experience with your fertility. You can have a different experience with pregnancy. You can have a different experience with childbirth. You can really, truly open to the possibilities of all of that when you just begin to release and let go of those past beliefs and those things that were holding you back and really keeping you stuck in that cycle of fear and anxiety and tension. So that would be my advice is, reach out for that support to us, to different members of the community and to your care team that can be that support for you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I have one more thing, so we're going to close it up. Really, really beautiful. Where they can find, what? See, we're talking so long, like where can they find you?
Okay, so they can find me at my website, which is psychedupsuccess.com. Putting the psychology in with success in all areas of your life. So they can find me there, as well as on social media. So they are welcome to also find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Psyched Up Success as well. And I will be happy to chat with anyone who really wants to just explore their options for support. I do offer a free 30-minute consultation, so they can book that right on my website if they want to learn more and just share where they are in their journey. And I can help, provide different levels of support as far as all the things that we talked about today, as well as resources, because I do have a lot of resources in my community for the different parts of that care team that they might be looking for. So happy to have those conversations.
So happy, so happy. And you can find me as well on YouTube and other social media like Facebook and Instagram under her Tao. And also one thing that I really love to share is she's also like an amazing author. Where can they find your book?
Yes. So so on my website, you can see lots of books. On my website, I've been featured in several different anthologies. So those are all listed there. And my journals, which actually you can see behind me over here, you can find right on Amazon directly too. If you just look up my name on Amazon, you can find my author page there.
Yay! So amazing, so amazing. So before we're going to close this up, I would really, really love to thank you for having here this time little conversation with me, because we need to bring as much as awareness. And I think there is growing a beautiful, beautiful project behind the scenes here. And V, I will give you the honor. I want a little oracle card to close it off.
Okay, just let me reach behind me one moment. I have the stack always nearby.
She has like 40 decks around her.
she can grab whichever one is the right one.
Whichever feels aligned with the energy right now. I always like to close it off because the universe has always an amazing, amazing message that really complements always everything that we talk about. So I'm always excited to see the extra confirmation that we get from the universe, because it's really important what we're doing.
I was not prepared for this, so you see me as a really hot mess, as it is really, really. So have to take me as I am at this moment. So sorry about that.
It's all
We are
love here,
real
all
people,
love.
V. It's all good, and you look fabulous. So don't worry.
Okay, I have a very, very beautiful deck, and it is the Heart and Soul deck. And that is this one. And there are very beautiful messages on here. So let's just give it a shuffle and let's see what will speak. Okay, we have two that want to fly out. So this one looks very, very, I hope you can.
It's beautiful. These are cards. Hearts.
Very much feminine and as a mother figure and a woman. So this says this card reflects protection, freedom, and success. It won't be quick or easy, but you will succeed. You are protected in a way. Free yourself of past doubt, fear, guilt. Let go of fixed expectations. Wow. Adaptable, and open to new avenues and ideas. A higher power is trying to guide you.
Oh, see that, isn't that amazing?
Yes,
wow.
It fits perfectly with everything that we were talking about today. That's gorgeous.
And I think this is a nice compliment. Tune out your thoughts and into your heart. Everything you are looking for is really inside you. Look within, keep an open heart and mind, and then follow your intuition. Beyond thought, there is knowing that embraces all knowledge. Your inner vision has a magnetic quality that draws everything you need closer to you.
Wow, I think we can't close it any more beautiful than this.
I think they complement very much and also each other. So
absolutely.
Very much for the feminine, the intuition, and that going within, going deep inside yourself so that you can bring all this to fruition and birth not just your child, but the creation and what you need to support you on your journey to your motherhood, or the loss that you have endured, or all the feelings that you have when you just have your new baby, that you might, but the answers will be inside, because we were created to do this. Only from the outer world, we have been put in a box how it should be. But if we go within and we go into that instinctual, that intuitional, we will find our genuine power as a woman who is, we were just created to do this, and we need to trust ourselves and our instincts more than we trust everything on the outer world, and go with that.
Thank you. I am so happy with this whole conversation. We shared a lot of gems here in this 1 hour. V, I would really like to thank you for the little hearts and little of the energy. Jodie, I loved having you here with me. I can't wait to do another one with you, and many, many more. Thank you for your time, your wisdom, and we'll be really, really soon back for more.
Thank you so much.